Hi, everyone. Today we have a very special chat. We're speaking with Elza from GevityRX, which are the manufacturers of these incredible products, which I've got here. It's all their products seem to be focused around bone broth, and it's really intense, super nutritious bone broth. This is my understanding anyway, that's full of the right amino acids. And my experience so far trying 3 of their products has been super positive. I am totally hooked. And the point of this chat is that these guys reached out to me and said, do you want to stock our products? I looked at them and I had absolutely no idea what they were. I just didn't get it. And I figure you guys might be the same. So fortunately, we have Elza here to tell us about GevityRX and explain what their products are and where they all came from. So welcome, Elza.
Hello, Simon. Thanks for having me. Explain all our story, how it all came about, what bone broth, what's the goal with our products. Yeah, it's really exciting to have this opportunity.
So first of all, with the name, so I was pronouncing it GevityRX, and then my fiance Grace was like, it's definitely Gevity, as in longevity, and that made a lot more sense to me. Why does it say RX on the end?
So RX, you may have seen in other things, we just don't pay attention. It means prescription. So it's like a shortened for prescription. So when you doctor, maybe not at uni, definitely RX is something that we use a lot. So we may say, especially when it comes to naturopathy, so you may say herb ABC RX for, or it could be, for example, treatment, hot shower, cold bath, RX for autoimmune disease, or like it's usually referred as a prescription.
Right. You know how much I know. Maybe I should be calling it Gevity then. Is that what you guys call it?
Yeah, Gevity. So our product is a few years old these days. We maybe 2 years-ish, or give or take 2 years. We used to be called as Middle and Marrow because we're all bone broth was the only thing that we made. But what happened was we figured out that we wanted to get into this longevity range of products. So to open up that avenue for us, we decided that Middle and Marrow was very bone broth focused. So that's when we decided, we've always been all about longevity. Bone broth came on the back thought of longevity, helping improve health and longevity. So it's always been all about longevity. So we just thought it made sense to have longevity, in our name.
And it's a good name, Gevity.
But a lot of people get the Gevity.
So are all the products, do they all have bone broth in them?
At the moment, yes. So we actually have 2 products. So we've got the bone broth concentrate, which we call body glue, because we figure out there's a lot of concentrate bone broth coming, but what is the main characteristic of our OG body glue, which is this one that you're holding, which is bone and salt, is really high collagen concentration in the product. And then based on that product, we made all the other products. So we've got the 7 flavors for the concentrate for the body glue, which this one is the lemon and herb. So it's body glue natural plus lemon and herb.
Cool. This is the lemon,
to make lemon
and herb.
Yeah. And then we've got the curry flavor, which makes our culinary range. So culinary range means pretty much everything changes accordingly to the flavor. And then we've got the 4 body glue, based on that natural, that will have our performance range. That line, although it's the same product, each one of the individual products will have a specific extra health benefit. So that's when we have the populate, which helps populate better gut bacteria because it's got fermented miso and wakame flakes. So fermented miso, really good pre and probiotic properties. We've got burn, which has thermogenic spices, so a blend of Chinese spices. So cayenne pepper, I never know how to say that name in English.
Don't ask me.
MCT oil, so very popular with those guys that are either doing keto diet or they want to do a fasting in the morning and induce that ketogenic process in the morning. And then we've got Boost, which is also MCT oil, but then it's got beetroot powder. So boosts circulation, boosts oxygenation, really good for cardiovascular disease. So on top of the bone broth benefits, all these other products will have these added. And then AM Cleanse, which is the turmeric, ginger, apple cider vinegar, and lemon, which is sort of like what everyone does in the morning.
I need to try that one.
Cleanse, digestion tonic, anti-inflammatory, and antioxidant-ish. And then we've got the sauces. So the sauces are based on olive oil, but all the sauces will have, so each 2 tablespoons of this barbecue sauce will have 1 serve of bone broth, of the natural one. So every 2 tablespoons of this has 1. And then the base of the sauces is all of them are made on 100% olive oil. There is no other oil. It's not a blend of a nasty, cheap oil with olive oil. No, we use extra virgin or organic olive oil. And then they all have prebiotic fiber from inulin. So that's why we call them gut-friendly sauce. Is really good for anyone doing carnivore diet that's a little bit more open to consuming those products, because if you're eating meat only, you may not be consuming a lot of prebiotic fiber. If you're consuming this product, you are going to be consuming a little bit of inulin, which is prebiotic, feed the good gut bacteria. They all have psyllium husk as well, which is the queen of the fibers overall. And they all have the bone broth as the base. And then each sauce is sugar-free, dairy-free, egg-free, nut-free, gluten-free, all the frees.
Wow.
So really good for, yeah.
Maybe I'll talk about the sauces now, because just to sort of lead on to what you're saying. So I've been having this Better Belly barbecue sauce, and it is unbelievable. I'm not normally big on barbecue sauce. Like I'm more of a tomato sauce guy, but this flavor is really nice. It's quite subtle. And I think Gevity have totally turned sauces or flipped them on their heads, because sauces are generally something that you think that you add to food and they're always going to be unhealthy, but they've kind of completely reversed it and said, we're going to make sauces healthy, which is, it's hard to get your head around. So there's no sugar.
And not high in calories as well. That's when you compare to a normal, because the thickness of the sauce comes from the bone broth. It actually doesn't come from egg or from, especially now in winter that everything is very cold. Yeah, or summer anyway.
So it really does flip things around.
Out of.
But yeah, I've been having it with steak, or what else have I had it with? Had it with chicken.
Kafta. Lamb kaftas, yes, sausages, lamb kaftas with the barbecue sauce, probably like, yeah, it's been my little favorite snack at the moment. Barbecue sauce with eggs as well is really good, like scrambled eggs, but then eggs is good with all of them. It's hard. We start talking about foods and the sauces. I go along on a recipe book.
Yeah. Well, Elza, can you tell us a little bit about, so what I'm sort of getting from looking into Gevity is that not all bone broths are created equal. Can you talk about, like, this is the concentrate here. Can you talk about maybe how your bone broth is made? Because it's really intense. Like it's called glue. It's like glue. It's really thick. Can you tell us about what makes it so special?
Yeah, so the first thing to look into a bone broth perspective is we want to get the proteins in a bone broth that you are not getting from meats, because otherwise we just eat meat. anyway. So the proteins that you want to get on that, that could potentially, we could be lacking if you're eating a lot, especially a lot of muscle meat. If you're someone who eats a lot of slow cooked meats with the bone, maybe not your case, but majority of us, we are in need with all the amino acids that are contained in collagen. So in order to get high collagen amounts in a bone broth, we would like to see a lot of bones, because bone is anywhere, depending on the textbook or the journal article that you will refer to, 82 to 87% collagen. So collagen is a protein, just like many other proteins, that has specific amino acids. So think about the protein as a house. And then to build a house, we need wood, we need bricks, we need cement. So you need several different materials to make the house. Protein, collagen is the same. You need lots of different amino acids. Most of the amino acids we get from most sources of protein. However, there's a few key ones. Glycine is one of them. Our requirements for glycine are very high. So you may be consuming glycine from other sources, but because we use glycine for a lot of things, we may not have a spare to internally produce collagen, because all of us actually make collagen internally. But just like to build a house, you need the right material and the right builders, people working to build that house in our body as well. So we need the right material, which would be amino acids, and we need the right environment. So for example, I don't know, most people who have potentially read about collagen would have heard that you need vitamin C to produce collagen internally. So if you are metabolic sick, so for example, overweight, if you smoke, if you're stressed, if you don't sleep well, so if you have cancer, if you have so many different varieties of, disease or states, will consume those workers in our body that we may not be producing collagen efficiently. So we have the issue that we may not have the material, and then we also may not have the proper environment. So you start looking into all these barriers to produce collagen internally. So then when we have a product that's highly absorbable, which is our bone broth, very high in collagen, and not to mention that we actually get tested, our products are lab tested, independent lab tested, to ensure that once we break down that protein, because collagen is that big protein, remember, we eat the collagen, we have to break down to absorb, and then we have to put it all together again. So there is a very high, we actually have to test to see if, you may be consuming a bone broth that has lots of collagen, but because the quality of amino acids isn't, let's say if you make bone broth with heat, the quality of the protein will probably be inferior because that protein has been damaged. It's like if you build a house with secondhand material. Yeah, you can build a house, but you could have a broken, a cracked wall, and that's the same as with putting heat in protein is one of the examples that when it gets to putting the collagen together again, we may not get the result that you want. So you may be consuming all these bone broth, but you're actually not converting into collagen. Whereas our bone broth gets tested to ensure that once we break down the collagen apart, do we really have hydroxyproline, which is the active amino acid that we want in collagen? Do we really have the glycine? Do we really have lysine? Do we really have all those things? And we do. The reason why we do is because we will use 100% Australian cattle. So Australian cattle, very, very high quality. Our farming practice here in Australia, you would know that.
Yeah, good to hear. And it's all grass-fed as well, which is fantastic.
Grass-fed, grass-finished. And then a big thing, sorry?
It's hormone and antibiotic-free as well. Which
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And then another thing that's a big thing that I do believe, I can't confirm, but I do believe that we're still the only company that do that. We actually clean our bones from meat, and then we use it. So when you consume our product, our product is meat-free. It's 100% bones, which means that the meat taste isn't really there. So you see that the natural broth is quite blend in. It's creamy, smooth, but quite blend in taste. And
It
then
is. And I've been having the straight regular bone broth glue,
yeah,
like just a teaspoon of that in a cup or a mug of boiling hot water, drinking it like a tea. And you're right, it's not meaty. It's super subtle. It's a little bit salty. And yeah, it's fantastic. It's really nice.
Yeah, and the reason why, and then because there is no meat, you will find that the levels of, for example, arginine, all the other amino acids that are very high in muscle meat are very low, not very low, but they're not really the main source of protein in our bone broth, because we're using bones, and bones are known for having minerals. So phosphorus, calcium, potassium, sodium, magnesium, and collagen related amino acids. That would be the big why our product is so different and why we've been the leading bone broth in the world.
Yeah. All right. So it's a real focus on the nutrients that you can specifically get from bones. And I mean, that's why you're having bone broth in the first place. So if you're already getting an amount of nutrients,
absolutely.
Meat, steaks, for example, and then you combine it with bone broth, maybe you're having the bone broth first thing in the morning or at night, instead of having a cup of tea, you have the bone broth. You're really getting more collagen and upping the amount of nutrients you're getting into your body. Yeah. So, I mean,
you're complementing like a lot of the time, like we're complementing a lot of the time, like a lot, if especially for I keep focusing on the carnivore and the keto, because I think it would be a big part of your followers and your consumers, because a lot of the time consuming bone broth, even prior a meal, you can actually get the digestive juices going, because you are consuming a very small portion of protein and salt, so that itself gets the juices going. And then when you eat your meat or your main meal, you're actually already, the digestive system is like, okay, bring it on, like, and then if you're consuming a carnivore diet, like the natural bone broth, it would be 100% carnivore friendly, because it's bones and salt.
Yeah, totally. All right. So,
and then you get more out of the protein that you get from the meat. Because a lot of the time, like I hear a lot of people saying, oh, I can't handle eating a lot of meat. A lot of the time is actually what's happening internally. And that's why they can't digest the meat and not the meat itself. They're not producing enough juices. They are not, they're too stressed. They're not chewing enough. They're not cooking the meat appropriately to what the cut of meat is. Like there's all sorts of, and not so much the food itself.
Wow, that's a really interesting point. So, Elza,
yeah, so consuming a cup of bone broth like about half an hour before a meal, it's actually a really good practice.
So, Elza, what would you say is the gateway to Gevity? Like, what product would you start with?
What we started with the natural. So natural. So I've been with Gevity since the beginning.
Sorry, Elza, I mean, like, what as a new customer? So you're a Mackenzie's Meats customer, and you want to find out about
how to start. If you're a little bit, not too sure, absolutely sauces. So how to choose the sauces. If you are a barbecue person, do the barbecue, like barbecue sauce. If you're not too sure, but you hear all these benefits, just do the Great Guts mayo, which is the plain mayo. Everyone eats mayo. I will say, if you like mayo with a little bit of a twist, the turmeric mayo. But then if you are into chili, although the sriracha mayo isn't very spicy, it's got a kick to it. So I am officially addicted to the sriracha mayo. Like I cannot, yeah. Oh my God, the sriracha mayo changed my life. I was a mayo plain person. I would have Great Guts with everything, because I'm not a very big chili fan. But the sriracha mayo changed my life. I'll eat everything with sriracha mayo.
All right. Well,
There's not one single food that I don't eat with sriracha mayo.
I need to try that one. Okay, Elza, so best place to start is potentially the sauces.
I think the sauces, and then if you're open to the bone broth, I would say, look, the AM cleanse is, company-wide is the most popular flavor. It's got a kick of a turmeric and a gingery flavor. I make turmeric lattes with the broth. So because as you can see, like it's a little bit salty, but it's not overly flavored. So I actually make caramel with the natural sauce. I make caramel with the caramel sauce, like with the natural bone broth. So you can if you mix with you know how you can make caramelized sugar, but then if you use maybe erythritol or a xylitol or whatever other, like I'll make butter, honey, raw honey, and natural bone broth sauce, pour over my granola to bake like a homemade granola. So I use the natural broth for that. So you can, there's unlimited amount.
This is why we needed to have the conversation also, because...
But the AM cleanse is, so AM cleanse, you mix with whatever milk you like to do a little bit of like raw honey, manuka honey, and it could be, you know, a turmeric latte. Or in summer, because drinking a hot broth in summer, you know, in Australia, not mix a little bit of, you always want to mix your broth with a little bit of hot water so it dilutes and it blends really well with the liquid. Pour sparkling water, ice, basil and mint, and it's a mocktail, AM cleanse mocktail. I've made Bloody Marys with our bone broth, and it's amazing.
There you go. What a hangover cure.
Sorry?
What a hangover cure, eh? Bone broth.
Yes. Well, you're consuming salt, you're consuming liquid, and you're giving your tummy a little bit of collagen to, you know, soothe the alcohol coming out.
Very good. Well, that's just, it's so clear that you can go really deep with Gevity, and there are a lot of products and a lot of ways you can use it. I think the thing that keeps sticking in my mind is, well, first of all, creating your own little bone broth drink from the body glue or the body glue variants is awesome. And then secondly, with these sauces and like the ways that you can apply these products to any kind of meal, it really is flipping some things that are normally unhealthy on their head to make them healthy. That's what I want you guys, what I want you guys to understand. And you know, a little bit more about Gevity, that they are an Australian company. They're based up on the Gold Coast. All their products are made from Australian ingredients. It's all grass-fed meat, grass-fed animals, their bones obviously. And yeah, I think they're a really good fit for Mackenzie's Meats and all of our customers. So Elza, I'd like to say a big thank you for explaining and going into more detail and filling in some of these blanks. So hopefully people can start to understand the products, because, you know, I think they're going to love them.
Yes. With the sauces, like you really hit the sweet. It's like I tell people, I love the sauce. I love natural bone broth is my little baby. I love that product, but the sauces they're special because it's a double while. If you're consuming traditional supermarket mayo, it's not only not adding any value to your life, it's actually removing value from your life, like from your health. So by adding the Gevity, whatever flavor you choose, you are doing two good things. You are not consuming the bad stuff, and you are actually consuming awesome stuff. Whereas the bone broth, you know, just the fact that you are willing to consume bone broth, good on you, like, you know, but the fact that you don't consume bone broth is not harming you, you know, but if you do consume, good for you. So it's sort of like, that's why I find the sauce is very special. But yeah, the bone broth, yeah.
Well, thank you, Elza. We really appreciate it.
Very, very exciting times ahead.
Yeah, thank you. And perhaps we'll do another update when Mackenzie's Meats rolls out more products. For now, we're starting with a little select range of Gevity products, and we'll do more in the future. So, Elza, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Any questions, just say hello.